Hi, I am Revati, Assistant Professor, Department of EEE, SNS College of Technology. In this lecture series video of Biology for Engineers, today's topic is genetic disorder. So, what is genetic disorder? Uh, if we are having a severe issue which is related to the disease, for example, diabetes, it is a genetically transmitted disease which is present in our gene. So DNA, what is deoxyribonucleic acid, which represent our DNA, which we have the characteristics of our ancestor, which is transmitted by the DNA, which is also known as a gene. Likewise, the disease is also transmitted through the genes. So that is called genetical disorder. It is transmitted to the generation to generation. It is called genetic disorder. So consider a problem statement of a rare autosomal recessive disorder, congenital insensitivity to pain with ahidrosis is characterized by the congenital lack of pain sensation. So it is related to an anthroid pain, which is non-pain, insensitive to pain. It's a autosomal recessive disorder. So the symptoms are the person who is having an autosomal recessive disorder, they have no sweatings, recurrent episodes of hyperpyrosia, detraction of mental abilities, and self-multitative behavior. Which is self-multitative behavior is related to slightly similar to the multipolar disorder, bipolar disorder. So the case is, we present a case of a 1-year-old male child who initially presented with self bites on the tongue and then multiple fractures with no report of pain or crying, which initially indicates carelessness of parents. So consider this case, and we saw in the problem statement whereas it is insensitivity to pain. So the child is repeatedly bites its tongue without feeling any type of pain in the tongue area, and having a multiple fracture by rolling over or being fractured the bones, there is no pain because of this genital disorder, not intracressive to pain. The child didn't feel any pain, any type of pain in the body. So initially it was considered as carelessness of a parent, but soon after doctor discovered that it is a type of regressive diseases which is insensitivity to pain. So based on further in-depth assessment indicating a family history of similar weak bones. So the weak bones is a genetical disorder and no pain. The pediatric team conducted investigation along with genetic test. The child was diagnosed with congenital insensitivity to pain with erythrosis. So it is the disease, whereas another sibling born later. So a few days after, and another child was born in the family with the same disorder. But why? Because it is present in the gene and it is transmitted to the generation to generation, which is present in the DNA of a person, and it is transmitted through the genes of a parents. Both the childs developed eczema, which was difficult to cure due to constant scratching by children. So they are like scratching, itching feeling. They may scratch the skin layer with a tough handling. So they didn't feel any pain, so they don't want to stop it when it is. If we feel any pain, we will stop it. When the child is not feeling any pain, they didn't stop that scratching. So that follow-up studies indicates slightly difficulties in learning abilities and delay in the achievements of milestones. So it is nowadays it is uh, called as a inability to talk or react. Genetic loss of function mutation in human. Tribomycin receptor kinases, a gene encoding receptor triclosan kinases for the nerve growth factor, was reported to be the cause of CIPA. Sensory neurons and sympathetic autonomic neurons are under the surveillance of NGF and plays the roles in the activation and hemostasis of other cell types. What is the reason for this is due to lack of fibers in skeleton system. Metabolism of bone is also affected. And the bone fractures are recurrent and common in CIPA patients due to the absence of the tropic rolls of non-sepeutic fibers. So interesting case is medical clinic learning point. It's important throughout the history taking, including family history, which was vital in researching a correct diagnosis system. So, which of the following is a type of autosomal regressive genetic disorder? Which of the following disorder is also called as the royal diseases? Which of the following disorder is an example of point mutation? Which of the following is a triad of X-linked regressive? The mode of inheritance for the triad fragile X syndrome is in the father in a family has a disease while the mother is normal, the daughter only are inherited by the disease and not the son. Name this type of disease. What will be the condition of a progeny if the father is normal while the mother has one gene of homophilia and one gene of color blindness on one of the X chromosomes? So, continuous relationship are common. Healthcare professionals need to keep this factor in mind as it can means an increased possibility of genetic condition, a delay in appropriate management, but also consequence of an incorrect diagnosis. For example, safeguarding concern that comes to light in this particular cases. So, CIPA manifest has a massive effect on parents. They often require support for themselves due to high level of complexityness in managing the patients. Due to nature of this condition, the parents need to be well educated in the management of the condition. Overall, these types of conditions can be challenging for clinical along with parents and requires a multidisciplinary approach to enable the best outcomes. Thank you.